Hey folks, my name is Tim, and today I'm going to talk about my quest for all things Legacy. To start with this video, I thought I'd mention all the cards I'm showing in this video I keep in a safety deposit box, so they're not at my house. So don't bother looking up my address and trying to find out where you can, make a quick buck. But in any case, so for me, Magic has had a profound impact on my life. For anybody who knows me, I've played Magic for most of my life. I started playing when I was 16. I did take a bit of a hiatus when I moved to Washington State when I was late in my 16th year. Um, and at that point, I kind of wasn't really playing Magic. None of my friends at the time were playing Magic. I did have a couple of friends there that were former Magic players, and we played a little bit here and there, but I wasn't buying Magic cards or anything like that. Pretty much from about the time Homelands came out until I moved to Japan. When I think I was 19 when that happened. Would have been in 1998, late in 98. At which point I started playing Magic again. I found a great group to play with on the military base there, um, and it was around the time Urza Saga came out. It was a little bit before that. I started playing when Exodus was the most recent set, and just before Urza Saga came out. So so in any case, I played. That's when I started competitively playing Magic. They had a tournament there, a standard tournament at the time, I believe. That was played every week. And that's when I started, like I said, getting competitive decks together. Prior to that, I was definitely a more of a casual Magic player. Um, and then I moved shortly after that. I moved to Michigan, which is where I still live, and continued playing Magic there, basically throughout all of my college years, and into up until I had a kid, which would have been around 2013. At which point I kind of like Magic took a backseat, but certainly has never left my life. Um, so in any case, at the point where I moved to Michigan, I started basically working on just keeping up with Weekly Standard. During that whole time, I probably played Magic once or twice a week. Pretty much made the Friday Night Magic circuit, and as well as obviously a lot of casual games, drafting a lot, and playing in a lot of sealed events and draft events and things like that. So in any case, I spent probably uh, 10 or 15 years just playing Magic pretty consistently. Um, my general frame of mind, and I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about finance here too, since Magic comes into finance quite a bit. I would have uh, like basically I'm a pretty frugal person. As I've mentioned, most stuff I buy secondhand. Um, like if I go out for a movie, I never buy pop and popcorn. Usually it's going to be a matinee if I'm seeing a movie. Paying full price for tickets has just never been my thing. Um, like if I go out for to a restaurant, I definitely, it's always water. Just very disciplined financially, and that's always given me a lot of leeway in being able to save money in order to do things like purchase collections and things like that, which is something I did fairly regularly throughout at the very least throughout the 2000s. Just opportunistically, I was never advertising that I was looking for collections, but whenever friends would quit playing the game, and whenever you're just in the community all the time, you come across people who are willing or looking to sell their collection, and I was always an avenue of opportunity for people, and they gave me an opportunity to purchase their collection in a lot of situations. So in any case, um, usually what I would do would be to filter through anytime I'm buying a collection. You kind of filter through it, pull out all the money cards. Anything that's less than $2 or $3. I mean, realistically, it's not worth the time to sell. To be quite honest, um, the opportunity cost to deal with cards in that price range is just it's definitely not a profitable thing to do, and most people are aware of that and just won't do it. So in any case, you usually, you value the collection based on the more expensive cards. Um, Quite often, like, you can compare things to buy lists and stuff, but you can't get a good sense of buying a collection just strictly off of buy lists. But you can definitely get a base of what a collection is worth based on the cards that are selling a buy list, and totaling those up, and just, maybe giving closer to TCG low and figuring that your profits come from the bulk of the collection. And as you can see, over the years, I've picked up several collections, and worked my way up to a very large holding in Magic cards. It's kind of a go wide strategy, and while doing this strategy, I certainly had a goal in mind, and usually when I was out playing, I was just constantly trading Magic cards, with the goal being to work my way into a complete set of legacy cards. Just not in the sense of complete sets as in owning play sets of every card in the game. But I was usually working towards getting actual playable legacy cards. I kept track of decks as decks were new decks were developed, and just anytime I'd see a new deck, I would just take note of any card that I didn't have a full playset of, and would work towards acquiring those cards. Like, it's not a matter of, like, I never went out and bought singles. Singles is definitely just a bad investment, bad strategy, when you're buying Magic cards, unless you just need it for a tournament, or something along those lines. And nowadays, I'm not sure if getting cards and in collections is very easy to do. It's certainly, people don't carry their Magic cards with them anymore like they used to. Trading is definitely a different animal than it was back in my day. Pretty much back when I played, everybody at FNM would have a trade binder, and nowadays, though, if you go to a Friday Night Magic, obviously COVID changes this a little bit to where you're not really going out and playing Magic, but 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 even still, like when I do go out and play Magic, I don't typically see people with their trade binders on them. They bring in their deck, and that's it. That's all you really see. So in any case, I spent a good 10 or 15 years, probably, like I said, from about 99 through about, I'd say 2010, 2012, just trading for regularly, and working towards acquiring any card that I thought saw any kind of legacy play, because legacy is just my favorite format, and I wanted the option to play any deck that was in the format. Now, I certainly do have a preference. I typically, if you see me playing Legacy, I'm usually playing a Force of Will deck. Usually some sort of blue-white control is usual, a Stoneblade sort of thing. But I've certainly played a lot of other decks, Grixis, and like you saw, I had a Tabernacle that I do like to play lands. It's a very controlling strategy, and I enjoy that one as well. But in any case, yeah. So effectively, I did spend a large amount of my life trading for and working towards having all the decks in Legacy, and obviously, I have not kept fully up on that, and the opportunity to trade Magic cards, especially after you have kids, you just don't get out as much. So basically, newer cards, I typically don't have much of anything from, say, Khans of Tarkir. Was one of the last couple of sets that I wasn't even playing during Khans very much, but anything that's come out since then, I just don't really own. I've been pretty fortunate in my collection purchases. I'll give you a couple examples. Like, I'd probably say that the largest collection I've ever purchased was from my friend John. He played Magic from the alpha beta days all the way up through Probably about Urza Saga, I think, is when he quit playing paper Magic. Probably about the time Magic Online came out. So during anything after Magic Online, he really quit playing paper Magic, and when he decided that he no longer wanted to own those cards, he gave me the opportunity to buy his collection. It was like John had actually collected a set of a couple of the Four Horsemen sets and sold those off. So a lot of what I got was really the scraps of the cards from the Four Horsemen era. But it filled out. One thing I really liked about John's collection is it filled out the sets that I had missed whenever I wasn't playing Magic. So all of the Tempest block and the what was the Mirage block were completely filled out. At the time, when I started playing Magic, the only thing available was Revised, so I didn't really own cards prior to Revised. I had, I'd picked up some here and there, but very few and far between. Those sort of cards, you just don't come across them. Like I can tell you from experience buying collections over the years, you'll get a very large collection, and if you get a very small stack of pre-revised cards in it, yeah, you were pretty lucky. Because like I said, those cards are legitimately very rare. That's the reason why they're very expensive, is just because they're extreme rarity. But in any case, yeah, I believe, as far as actually trading into all the things you need for Legacy, the first strategy is you really want to trade into your dual lands. And fortunately, when I was working on collecting dual lands, it was really, I probably had a full set of dual lands by I'd say 2001, 2002. And the cards were worth somewhere in the ballpark of $10 to $20 a card. They were not that expensive. I remember picking up an unlimited Underground Sea in my early days of when after I moved to Michigan, from a store called the Outpost, which no longer exists. But they had in their case a unlimited Underground Sea for $15. I remember I picked that up, and that was a card I really enjoyed. And I actually no longer own that card. I'll get into that one in my next video. What happened to that card? But in any case, so working my way into the dual lands was step number one. And then basically working towards again any card that sees play in Legacy. I kind of took note of. My general trading strategy was I'll typically trade anything for anything. But at the time, I was playing Standard and playing Limited frequently, and would usually work on trading all of my Standard cards. I'd work towards the one deck I wanted to play during that Standard season, and otherwise just trade into cards that I thought had the potential to stay in Legacy or just were Legacy already. And that strategy, obviously, long term has worked out really well for me. I know most people see the booms of 2021 especially, and the pricing of older cards, reserve list, have gone just through the roof. They're astronomical nowadays. I can't imagine trying to get into that sort of Magic nowadays. I'm certainly at the current prices. I'm not a buyer. Typically, I'm not a wealthy individual. I've certainly, as you can see, I've got a wealth of cards here. But at the times when I was working towards buying Magic and collecting Magic, I was working usual $8 to $10 an hour job. Going to college, trying to make ends meet, and just being frugal with my finances in order to be able to afford stuff like this. And so yeah, I think I've been very fortunate. I've never sold out of Magic. I did have a experience in about 2015, I'd say. I felt like Modern was having just a phenomenal, really prosperous time in Magic during that time. So I took that opportunity, a couple years out of actually playing frequently. I was still, playing here and there, but I wasn't playing, 2 or 3 times a week like I had been prior to having kids. But my brother and I took an opportunity to go to a Grand Prix at Detroit, and with the intention of basically selling any good modern cards that the dealers were picking up. Unfortunately, there was a dealer from Japan. I think it was Saito store was at that event, and they were paying very well at the time for legacy cards, and so I went ahead and sold some of my like basically most of my extra dual lands at the time, as well as a lot of cards that I don't like, not a ton, but at least a handful of cards that I would typically not play in a deck. Like I sold my Lions Eye Diamonds and my unfortunately my Gaia's Cradles. Obviously, had I known what was going on in a couple years down the line, I certainly wouldn't have sold those cards at that time. But at the time they were paying above the going rates for everything, so I was just happy to get see some return on my investment, and um, and basically recoup some of the expense I'd had over the years of buying these collections, and or sorting cards, Magic, like the countless hours obviously I've spent sorting Magic cards and just playing in general. Keeping track of like pricing is something I've always kept track of. Just watching what's hot, what's not. Trying to keep track of cards I think are underpriced, cards I think are overpriced. You put the overpriced cards in your trade binder and kind of target things you think are underpriced in trades. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think I've had a pretty good run over the years of having a good feel for what's gonna do well in the future. One area where I'd say I'm a complete miss on is Commander. Obviously, Commander currently is running paper Magic is being pretty much saved by Commander. Otherwise, in 2021, Magic would just not be doing as well as it is. Like but that's a train I completely missed. EDH is not a format that I really play. I'm a competitive player, playing against multiple players. I'm not going to fault anybody for how they want to have fun, but for me, having fun in Magic is figuring out the best plays and the trying to play tight and optimal. And whenever you're playing Commander, it's more about the big splashy plays and going under the radar, and it's just not as entertaining to me. It's not what I'm into Magic for. So in any case, obviously I've missed the boat as far as what cards are going to do well. Obviously, I've got just such a wide range of cards that while a lot of cards have lost value over the years, a lot of cards have also gone up in value, and I've done pretty well for myself in that regards. Obviously, my wide range of just owning a ton of cards. I probably have a playset of most, if not all, of the reserve list cards. So as you can see, like I'm kind of just flipping through all the cards I own here. Not necessarily legacy, but as I mentioned, my goal throughout this whole time was collecting a full set of any legacy card that saw play. And I think I did a really good job of that, honestly. I probably in the 2012, 2013 era, if I was going to a legacy event, I could pick pretty much any deck and be within a couple of cards of it. Another thing you should really be aware of in Magic is networking. I've always been really free to loan my cards out to any of my friends if they need them for an event, and vice versa. I can always count on my friends to loan me cards whenever I need them. that's something like being able to network and just be able to borrow cards on the fly is something I can't understate the value of that whenever you're playing tournament Magic. At that point, you don't need to go to last minute go buy something from the dealers at the retail pricing and stuff like that. You can usually just borrow everything you need, get to the point where you have most of the things you want, and just borrow the last little bits of what you need in order to fill out a deck. And then so yeah, like let me go ahead and go over some of the other things I've done over the years, like just some of my accomplishments. I've never really played large events. The EV on those sort of events is typically not to my liking. Very, very top heavy. If you're going to, like, say for instance, a Grand Prix. I've certainly played in a few. The best I've ever done was at a this was actually with John, who I bought that collection from, and my brother, and this was years after the prime of my Magic. This was for Magic Origins. We played in a three-headed giant sealed event. Well, not three-headed giant. It was a team sealed event with 3 players, and we took 20th place at that event, which was I think we each walked away with $300 or $400. Nothing too serious, but definitely made for a great weekend, and a memory I'll cherish. But I've also, like, beyond that, I did very well at. I remember doing very well at the, what was it, the Odyssey pre-release. I played. I went to Garden City for that. Pandemonium, if anybody remembers that. And I believe there was a 200 player main event, which I managed to take down. I took first place in. So that's definitely an accomplishment. Obviously, when you're talking about pre-releases, it's a lot more casual. So the winning that was definitely a cool thing for me. If anybody watched my video on how I acquired my revised complete set, you also know that I won the very first Magic tournament I played in. Was a 40-player event, and the winnings on that was a very large collection of revised, at least for me at the time. Got me really started and got my gears churning for Magic, and when I came back to playing competitive Magic, it was definitely was already wired for trying to figure out the best ways to do well. So beyond that, let's see here. There's been just a lot of great memories. Most of my friends I've acquired through playing Magic. Like I almost all my friends that I even hang out with now at some point played Magic. Yeah, I've played at pretty much all the stores in town. If anybody is watching that's from the Grand Rapids area, you're gonna know. Like we started out at the Outpost. Was other than playing at College Lower Kirkhoff. If anybody's familiar with that, was the place to hang out in the 2000s if you wanted to play Magic in the early 2000s and late 90s. Over at Grand Valley State University, and otherwise, like for stores, like I said, went to the Outpost for a couple of years. Jeff's a great guy. He no longer lives in the area, but I believe he's still involved in Magic and is running a store somewhere else in the country. And other than that, like when that the Outpost closed, then everybody started going to the let's see, that was Goldmine Comics was the next place that everybody played at. Pretty much had a good 30 to 50 players most Friday nights for that for during its prime. Probably not 50. That's probably exaggerating, but 20 to 30 players during its prime was definitely very common. I played for several years at Alpha Players, which was a Magic and disc golf store. I've also had a lot of experience at Whitecap Comics, playing at that's a much more casual store. I'm not sure if Whitecap Comics is still around nowadays. They had expanded or moved over to a second store, or their main location, I should say, had moved. And I think I saw that they were closing a few years ago. I haven't been by there in a while. Um, but in any case, um, yeah. So that's kind of covers a lot of my experience playing Magic for again my whole life, and I hope you really enjoyed. And I'm hoping to get out and play some Magic again once COVID is subsiding. I do play a little bit of old school Magic on the old webcam. That's apparently the thing to do now that nobody can get out and play real Magic with other people. Um, that community, I really enjoy old school Magic, but there's a couple of the playing on the webcam is basically it's just not the same experience as playing in real life. You're playing one on one, which is cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really love the community. I like the people are great, um, but it's not the same experience as when you're out with 20 and 30 people every week and seeing the same guys and um, that's something I really enjoy and really miss, and hope to get back to at some point soon. But in any case, let's see. I've got one more stack to go through here again. So let me go ahead and wrap up. Just going through my Magic cards while I talk here. But yeah, like hopefully you all have the opportunity to play some paper Magic again soon. I am playing a little bit of Arena. That's not. I played in the open beta for a little while, or actually, I'm sorry, the closed beta for a little while, and have gotten back to that in the last month or so, which is something. So I don't have a very large collection there, and it's just such a time-consuming thing that I don't. It's not something I do every day. But it is something that's available now, and I really still do like playing Arena and getting. I play with my friends Andy and my brother Dan are the other people I know right now that are playing on Arena. Obviously, there's I'm sure I know a lot of other players, but those are the ones I'm actually in communication with on a weekly basis. Um, so I hope you've enjoyed listening to me talk about, basically rambling on about Magic. I do have another video planned. I'm probably going to film it right after this one if you want to stick around. But I'll go ahead and keep that one a little bit of a surprise. I'm sure you've probably seen the thumbnail by now, so you probably already know what that one's going to cover. But I hope you've enjoyed basically, letting me ramble while I flip through my extensive collection of Magic cards here. And I hope you have a good day. But yeah, go ahead and do all the normal like and subscribe things on I'm sorry, on YouTube. And get back to me if you have any other topics or you have any questions. Let me also mention just a couple of things that you might want now that we're wrapping up here. If you're somebody who's like me and has a very large collection of Magic cards, obviously you can see that I store them on these racks here. You can get those at a lot of places, but I found the ones at Target are a great deal. I think buying the 5 rack plus the 3 rack fills out one of these racks for a total of 8 shelves, and they definitely make a very good storage. And I've got one final stack here. Let me go ahead and flip through. These are all just various 4 and black border cards that I've got here. Now, obviously, all these cards that you're seeing, most of them are play sets. Not necessarily all of them. I've obviously most of these ones are just this is just a single 4 and black border plateau. But yeah, these are just various. But this is a play set here of 4 and black bordered mana drains. That's a card I definitely love playing that card. Don't get to do it very often. Obviously, vintage doesn't come around too often, but when it does, it's something I really enjoy. And in old school, you only get to play your 1 mana drain, as it's a restricted card. I have been checking out as far as old school is concerned, I've also been checking out 7 Point Singleton, which looks like a really cool format. I haven't actually played that yet or put a deck together, but it's something that I also probably will play sooner than later. But in any case, again, I hope you enjoyed my little trip down memory lane here and chatting with you, and you guys have a great day.